All right, here I am. Here's Kiki. She's ready to get her fluids. So instead of pinning her down and trying to hold her still, my goal today is to just give her cat food and try to give her fluids without her really noticing. So I left my bag in the sun to warm it up. And pretty much now I'm going to give her prescription canned cat food. And I'm just going to position myself here, try to keep her as still as possible. So I don't love this part. I get a little stressed out, but that's it. The needle is in. And I'm going to turn on the flow. The bag's up really high, so I should be getting a lot of gravity pushing the fluids through. I'm right-handed. I prefer to hold her skin with my right hand because I can really feel where I'm putting the needle in then, and then insert it with my left hand. So as you can see now, I don't really have to hold the needle in her. I don't have to hold her still. She's focused on eating and pretty content with that. I doubt you can hear it, but she actually purrs the whole time she receives her fluids. It's probably recommended you gently hold your hand here to keep the needle in place, but Kiki doesn't really like to be touched anywhere, except she'll tolerate me petting her head. So that's what I'm going to do, is pet her head to try to keep her distracted while the fluids flow. I'm trying to give her 2 units, so it's a little difficult to see from where I'm sitting, but I know it's going to take several minutes. So in a little while, I will take a closer look at the bag and see where it's going. In the past, I've had somebody help me, and they've squeezed down in the bag to try to help the fluids go into her faster, and I thought it sped it up, but with the bag hanging so high and being full, it seems to go pretty rapidly regardless. I am using a 20 gauge needle. I'm in Florida, so I was able to just throw the bag outside to warm it up instead of running it under hot water or placing it in a bowl of warm water. My vet said you didn't need to warm the fluids, but from my personal experience, I think that it makes it a lot more comfortable for her to have the fluids closer to her body temperature going in as opposed to room temperature. So with the warm fluids, she really doesn't seem to even notice them going in. So if anything, she just doesn't really like me touching her. So I'm going to try to hold her still here. Hope the needle stays in. Normally about halfway through, she starts getting fidgety, so that's kind of how I know where we are. So I'm going to try to get her to focus on her food again. She's still purring and pretty content with eating. So I know we're over halfway done already. My first few times doing it, the needle did fall out, and you'll notice because the fluids will still be flowing, but I was able to just reinsert it with no real problem in a different area, and that helped kind of distribute the fluids so she didn't have such a large bulge in one spot. Anyways, after the treatments, I kind of try to give her a little time to herself, but she doesn't ever seem to act traumatized or bothered. If anything, she just goes back to being herself as soon as we're done, and hopefully she keeps feeling fine. I do put my cats in my bedroom while I'm doing this. I have another 2 kitties, and they're pretty jealous of her canned cat food. So to make sure there's absolutely no added distractions or anything to upset her, I put them in the other room. I'm going to check where we're at now. All right, we just got about half of a unit left, so that's 75% done. Kiki's not really seeming agitated. She seems pretty content here. So I'm not having to hold her. I'm not having to restrain her. If I notice her moving too much, I will try to help secure the needle. But like I said, Kiki doesn't really like to be touched on her torso, so I try not to touch her there unless I have to. So I do this every other day, and it's not my favorite thing, but it's not terrible. It's not impossible. You can do it yourself. Trust me, Kiki. I love her, but she's not exactly a friendly cat. She isn't a social cat. She doesn't really like to be touched. She can be aggressive. So believe me, if all it takes is a little bit of canned cat food to get her to let me treat her, then that's what I do. I wait and don't give her canned cat food the day I'm giving her fluids until I give the fluids. That'll be the first time she had the canned food today. She did eat some dry food earlier. So compared to the first time I did this, I tried to wrap her in a blanket and hold her down. It ended up being a really traumatic experience for her and me. She did not like having her face covered. She did not like being wrapped in a blanket. And her being unhappy made me unhappy to the point I cried. And now you can see this is pretty stress-free. So I can actually see it's done now. So I'm just going to roll this down to shut off the flow. And real gently I pull out the needle, and that's it. All right, so go do whatever you want to do now. You're done. She probably still wants to eat a little bit of food. I'm looking here for where I threw the needle cap, but I'm going to use a clean needle every time, but I still want to get the cap on this one, so I'm not leaving a loose needle hanging around. But anyways, I'll put it right here for now. This is Kiki. You can see Kiki still has her paws shaved from when she originally went to the vet after being, she became sick and stopped eating. And that's when I took her to the vet, and they diagnosed her with renal kidney failure or kidney disease. And they treated her with fluids, got her feeling better, and I was able to bring her home. And that was quite a relief, because when she first fell ill, I thought I might never have her home again. So the fluid treatment may cost you a little bit of time and money, but if it can prolong your cat's life, to me it's an obvious no-brainer. I'm going to do whatever I can do for my baby girl, even if she doesn't appreciate it. She tolerates it, and that's what's important. So have faith in yourself and relax. Your cat will pick up on your cues if you're too stressed out giving the fluids. And good luck. I hope you and your cat enjoy many more years together.
Over and out, Kiki.